All right, welcome to Empowering the Healer Within. It's season 2 of Self-Care for Healers Online Masterclass Series. It's my privilege to introduce Sherry Camo. Sherry Camo is coming back to us from season 1. Sherry is a practicing spiritual teacher and practitioner and now author. She's certified in several modalities, and over the last 3 years, she's fully embraced the emotion code, body code full-time. She's also published her first book, A Change in Perception, that came out last January. She's also, there you go, she's also a clairaudient, which means she has a spirit team and family, friends, and light beings that communicate with her and give her intuitive perceptions in her sessions. She has many clients across the globe as well as across the United States, and she offers remote distance healing, and she's been doing that since 2012. So without further ado, Sherry, welcome back.
Thanks so much, Peter, for that. Oh, it was really nice, and it's nice to be back here with you. You did such a wonderful job the first time around. Oh my God, that was great. Oh, I mean, you just really pulled it off. You just did such a wonderful job. I was honored to come back and do this again. So,
so your topic today is the emotion code. Do you have a heart wall? So can you tell us what a heart wall is and what that can do to people?
yeah, as a matter of fact, I think what I can do is, as long as you can still see me, can you still see me?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
All right. So let me just give you a brief synopsis of what that is. Now, I'm just going to share something with you right now about the emotion code. This is the greatest discovery in energy field history, heart wall, the greatest discovery. You know, the emotion code is the most cutting edge game changer I've ever seen in the field of energy modalities. Now I'm going to also leave you, and I'm going to get into the hot wall in a minute, but I want to also leave you an extraordinary experience I had recently with a client of mine using the emotion code, body code. And primarily the body code is for deeper work. The emotion code is for emotions. The body code is for both, but goes much deeper into the human system and does more than just the emotions. It works with both. So without further ado, let me just give you a quick synopsis of some client of mine recently was suffering from angina. And she had it for a couple of weeks. And before mentioning it to me, she went on with this for like 2 weeks before saying anything because she was just frightened. She didn't really know what to do. So she contemplated calling the hospital or calling her doctor and having her admitted 4 times. So she had set up an appointment with me the day after our conversation. It was already set in stone. They usually set their appointments up a month in advance, and she had done that. And I was going to be working on her in the morning, but she was having an EKG, and she mentioned to me that evening, talking to me, I don't feel well. I've had a lot of pain. They tell me with the stress test that I had a week ago that there's blocks and I'm having angina and that they need to do an EKG on me. So that's what I'm having done tomorrow. And that I may need to stay there overnight. Wow. She said, so I was a little freaked out. If there's anything that you can do to work on me tomorrow morning, I would appreciate it, because her appointment was set for the following morning. So I'm like, are you kidding me? Why did you wait? So I told her, I'm not waiting. It's 10 o'clock at night. I'm working on you right now. I will send you the transcript when I've finished. So I did some research on some of the things that she was giving me for symptoms, and I started working on her. Her characteristics for what she was going through was an unstable angina, which is more severe than a stable angina. And women have different symptoms than men. So I'm going to keep this as short as I can, just to give people an idea of what this was all about. So in the end, after working on her for about 45 minutes to an hour, I found 25 organ layer imbalances in her system that were triggering the angina. I sent her the transcript immediately after finishing, knowing that she was still awake so that she'd have time to look it over if she wanted, because she couldn't calm down and relax. And these were her comments. After about 30 minutes, I became calm, and it must have been something that you did. So I texted her back and I just said, rest, call me tomorrow after you have your EKG, and take it easy. Her comment back to me, was the following day after the EKG test. I basically have no symptoms. Very little showed up on the test as well. My symptoms had been strong and increasing every day. Daily, they were getting worse for the last 2 weeks. So at that moment, she asked me a question. Am I to believe that what you did last night, because I am in no pain, actually healed this issue? I get goosebumps when I hear stuff like this from different clients. It makes me crazy. At that moment, I tuned into my spirit team because I'm clairaudient and I wanted to communicate with my team and just ask so I could make sure that I give her the right information and to confirm using this tool, the emotion code, body code. Was it something that we did together to help her heal? Their answer, yes, that's exactly what happened. Believe it, dear heart. That's how they refer to me when they contact me, when they want to speak to me. Dear heart, we are Divine Source Council. We want to speak with you. So she further mentioned to me, seriously considered taking myself to the hospital 4 times in the last week. And today, having absolutely no symptoms, I'm astounded. Further, with her, this was another comment, I believe Divine Source or God injected or interjected you at the exact right time that I needed you. And I avoided a possible hospital experience, and I am so grateful. Now, I'm going to just point something out. There's a processing timeline with this work that I do on people because you're shifting your vibration in your body, your organs, your glands, your tissue, the nervous system. Everything has a vibration to it, everything. And it's shifting because what we're doing in this work is extracting. So there's a processing timeline when we do that. So we're not just moving energy, we're literally extracting it. So she started to have a little bit of pain about 24 hours later after the EKG. Again, reminding you, she didn't have any pain at all. So I sent her a text and I said, remember, I'm just going to send you a reminder. Just remember, there's a processing timeline. So some things, as your body is adjusting, get worse before they get better. She immediately calmed down and remembered that, and she relaxed. It's just the processing timeline. It's not the old stuff that's coming back. She said to me, I guess I lost faith for a little while. She said, I'm back. I have a stronger connection. I do have faith in this process. You are very dedicated and looking forward to your new programs as well. So that's just one incident I wanted to share with everyone. So let's talk a little bit now about the heart wall. What do you say, Peter?
Sounds good.
Okay. So I'm going to just give you a little information about how this started. This all started with Dr. Bradley Nelson. Now, what happened to him was what we would call in our world the discovery of what he did with his wife. Now, his wife suffered from depression, PTSD her whole life. She kept having amazing, inspiring dreams recently, during this episode when he found the heart wall. So when they were going through all this, she was having inspiring dreams, and Dr. Brad was trying to figure out what was going on. So one day he went in his room. He was trying to figure out what the heck the message was that they were trying to send them through her, because him and his wife have a really tight connection and they work together well. So what happened next? He can't really explain, but he did the best he could with his knowledge. And he said, I had awakening vision. So you're wide awake, but you have a vision. It's a conscious vision. So he said it came from above. Then in front of him, the floor started to change. It was a beautiful wood floor, was perfectly intact. And he kept hearing this voice, your wife's heart is underneath this floor. So he went back to his wife, not really sure what to think about. He was kind of bewildered. And he said what had happened to him, and he was asking her permission to do a muscle test on her. And for the first time in history of heart walls, and asking, do you have a heart wall? And guess what? She tested positive. So her arm was strong. In other words, when you're doing a kinesiology test, the arm will stay strong when you press down on it. That's your body giving you an answer. That's a yes. If it gets weak, it will drop. Okay? So she got a strong answer with the arm. So what that means is the body recognized, I know you have a heart wall. So with the percent globally right now being around 93 or 95 of humanity having heart walls, that's how high it is globally. Between 93 and 95% of humans walking around on this planet have heart walls. And if I asked all of you that are the viewing audience at a lecture to stand on the podium with me, and I tested each of you using applied kinesiology muscle testing, the majority of you would all test positive, even though you don't know what the heck it is. It's pretty amazing. Very fascinating. Now, what exactly is a heart wall? Well, how many of you have ever had a heavy heart? You know, felt like your heart was going to break? Anyone ever feel that? Think about it. That's emotional trauma called broken heart syndrome, or the medical term BHS, maybe about 30 years ago. Back then, they didn't really pay a lot of attention to, the emotional components. 10 years ago, Mayo Clinic cardiologists would admit that having died of broken heart syndrome is a real thing. So what's happened to cause that? The tendons inside the heart are stretching. And what can happen is the heart can collapse. The heart wall is a separate space set up to protect the heart by the subconscious. And that's the subconscious number one job, is to protect the heart. So when we experience something traumatic that we're exposed to, like divorce, job loss, a car accident, death of a family member, death of a friend, a colleague, death of a pet, they're part of the family. That affects us. Or moving away, and you're moving away from all your friends and family. The subconscious creates this automatically by shaving small amounts of energy from trapped emotion that's already in your system, bringing it up to the heart center, because there is a field of energy around the heart, just like the aura around the whole body. And it literally starts to build a wall around the heart with these vibrations. It's not something that you can see, but it is definitely something you can feel. So in the book, The Secret, the theory behind that is change our thinking, and then there's positive things that happen. And it's true, it does help, but it's not complete, because trapped emotions radiate their own signature vibration out to the universe. So the vibrations trapped are what we attract. Like the aura around the body, it's 6 feet wide. The field of energy around the heart is 12 feet wide, double. And it fills this field around the heart with many layers of dense trapped emotions, vibrations. They have a frequency. So the wall can also expand well beyond that 12-foot mark. And Dr. Brad's wife, hers, believe it or not, was miles wide. Miles. That's crazy. Isn't that crazy, Peter? That's like nuts.
Sounds like a whole lot of trauma.
No kidding. Yeah, because she had a lot her whole life. Her whole life was like that. So just to give you an example, 3 years ago myself, I had my own heart wall release. It was 5,000 feet wide. So nobody escapes it. That's why I say between 93 and 95% of humans, we have one. So it's a separate space that's set up as a protection for the heart by the subconscious when we experience something traumatic. Now, here's another question for you. How are these emotions trapped in the system in the first place, aside from experiencing trauma? It's the organs and glands themselves. They are frequency generators. What does that mean? They are generating the frequency vibration of any emotion. They're the ones doing that. Let me see if I have a chart here, and I'll show you that while I'm talking. They're the ones actually bringing in that emotion. Here's the chart, okay? And here is, with my trusty pencil, the organs and glands on the right here. These organs and glands are bringing in the emotions directly across from them, okay? So these organs and glands cannot bring in these emotions, or these organs and glands cannot bring in these. They bring in what's directly associated with them. So many of you have heard, if you're aggravated or if you're angry, the liver is upset. It is. That's exactly true. So if you look at the chart, liver and gallbladder, it's anger, it's bitterness, it's guilt, it's hatred, resentment, depression, frustration, indecisiveness, panic, taken for granted. There's 10 associated with the liver. So that's why I wanted to show you that chart. It's important. It's the organs and glands that are bringing those frequencies and introducing it to the body. So this is not something that's going to be able to be released on its own in time. It's for this reason people lead very diminished lives, and it holds the system down while it's protecting the heart. These low frequency emotions. So as long as we have one in place, we will continuously attract more and more dense frequencies, adding more layers to that heart wall, like an onion. Like attracts like. And here's the last question I'm going to leave with you. What stops the heart from hurting? No one really knows, except Dr. Bradley Nelson, the founder of this. He actually found that these trapped emotions, and there's usually between 200 and 300 in a system at any given time. If they're placed over the heart, it stops the heart from hurting. But if we have multiple trapped emotions over the heart, it's a whole nother ball game. We have depression, we have anxiety, we have sorrow, we have sadness. That's why I'm saying we have 60 that we work with. So if you have multiple, it's a game changer. It changes everything. Now, let me just give you this. There's 5 symptoms. You guys can all think about this. This will give you 5 symptoms that you could possibly have a heart wall. Low immune system, low energy, lack of clarity of our mission in life. Everyone in here, everyone has a mission in their heart. The problem is heart trauma. It's challenging. What do our teachers tell us when we're in school, growing up in grammar school, all through high school, college professors? Follow your liver? Follow your kidneys? No, it's follow your heart. It's been proven. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
It's been proven that the heart has a brain, and that the brain in the head obeys the messages coming from the brain in the heart. So that's number 2. Number 3, there's only 2 more. Desensitized heart. What this means is you see love and affection. You see it all around you. People at the beach, people walking in the park, but you yourself, if you have a heart wall, you don't feel that. That's the difference. Simply your analytical mind sees it, but your heart doesn't feel it. And this is called a numb heart. And generally it leads to codependency on either someone, like a new love interest, so you think, or something like throwing yourself into your work or picking up a hobby. And because the heart is closed, and most people are not aware of that wall, they stay in troubled relationships. They take abuse physically, sexually, emotionally. The mate probably has a heart wall as well. That's why they're attracted to each other. Like attracts like.
Resonance. Yep.
Resonance, exactly. 4, our love language gets lost in translation. How many times have you said something to your partner with good intentions and they think you're totally whacked?
Yep.
Like, oh my God, he or she, oh my God, here we go. They're thinking, here we go, issues. Well, guess what? Neither one has issues. It's heart trauma, and it's blocking communication between them. 5, lastly, abundance and wealth. Money is definitely included in this. So money and finances are included for this reason. A heart wall will block us from being in the flow of financial freedom. When we're in the flow of abundance, it just flows. Dreams, aspirations, love, creative jobs that you love, and finances. So with that said, that's the heart wall. So I don't want to get too sidetracked, and I don't want to go off and do too much, but I do want to talk to you about I talked about my client and the episode that she had. I did want to go into the electrolytes. Is that okay, Peter?
Yeah, so you've been doing the Emotion Code Body Code for quite a while, and you've got some new upgrades to what you do to make it better. Can you tell us about how the electrolytes play into this and your treatment sessions?
Sure. Absolutely. That's a real good question. Okay, so let me just start with this. I'm going to put up on the screen for everybody so they can see this. It's on the far right. Hang on a second. I'm going to just share a screen with you for just a second, honey. Which one of the charts is it? Share. Okay, so this one is an animal. I do work on animals, so this one is on cats, dogs, and horses. I don't know if you can see that well. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. What I test is what their immune system percent is. Is it functioning at 100%? I also test, is their heart percent messages to organs and glands, is that functioning at 100%? Also the heart messages, is that functioning at 100%? So I test that as well. But in the electrolytes, here's the chart that I follow: sodium, potassium, bicarbonate, creatine, calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, protein, cholesterol, triglycerides, iron. I test all of these for these percents. And if you see on the screen, it gives you numbers for each category. Canine, 143 for sodium, or for feline, sodium should be 149. It gives you a gauge of what it should be. Equine, horse, sodium levels should be between 134 and 142. I test these so that people have, this is just a window into the body. It's going to give you just an eye view of what's going on with you or your animal, your pet, or a child. So let me just get out of this one, and I'll show you the next two that I have, just so that you have something to look at. So let me just see where that is. Hang on one quick second. So that one's over there. I got to find them. Okay. Here we go. Share. And we did that one, so let's do this one. All right, this is on a human adult. Same thing, we test the immune, the brain, and the heart. And there are other things, but I want to concentrate on the electrolytes. So we do the same thing. We test sodium, chloride, potassium, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, really important, and vitamin B and vitamin D. I can't tell you how many people the vitamin B level is off. B12 is way off. Test your pH balance, your iron level, your protein level. Your protein level that I test is based on your weight, what your body weight is. So I can't tell you how many people I have worked on recently. And these are the ones that are like a red flag: magnesium, B12, and vitamin D. Watch for those. I watch for those. I watch for those. It's a red flag. Also, if they're dehydrated. So, okay, so that's, you have a question for me, honey? That's humans.
Yeah, it's interesting that one thing I've learned recently is that any person that's on a medication for reflux, that medication may interfere with the uptake of vitamin B12 specifically as a side effect. So anyone that's on, I don't want to mention them specifically, but
right, there's a side effect.
Antacids or prescribed medications. And then, of course, there's everyone knows that vitamin D and magnesium, 80-90+% of the population is low in those.
Absolutely.
And that causes problems. So if you have a vitamin D deficiency, you could have immune system problems.
It can affect a lot.
Yeah, magnesium, you're constipated. So if you're constipated, what would you take? You'd take milk of magnesia to overcome that. So that's just
exactly, and then it's going to offset something else.
Right.
So it's for this reason that this work that I'm doing is cutting edge. It's cutting edge, nothing like I've ever seen before. And so I watch closely what's going on with my clients. And, right now I'm having them tested. This is like when you have a session that you've purchased, every like 4 weeks or 6 weeks, I'm going to just recheck it. You're going to have a session anyway. I'm going to recheck it to see what the figures are. So it's included. It's part of the session. I don't do it every single session, but I do it like every 6 or 8 weeks and test it. See if it's dropped, if it's up. You know, if they need to be taking some supplements, that's what I suggest to them with muscle testing. I test, you know, should they take vitamin B12? If they should, how much should they take? 1,000 milligrams? This is what I use as the ring locks. This is a yes, just like the arm. This is a yes. When I use the ring locks, this is a yes. If I get a no, it'll just slide right through. It's weak, can't hold it. Same thing with the arm. It's weak, it can't hold it. If I ask questions of that person, I tune in and connect, get permission to connect to their subconscious, and I ask, you know, the just to give them an example, I'll use the B12, vitamin B12. You know, they're very, very low, and the gauge for a human is very high. The range is between 190 and 950. But if a person, and I have a scale here, if a person is between 2 and 300, that means that they're borderline overactive thyroid or anemia. That's when I start to question things. So, like I said, the gauge is between 190 and 950, but if they're between 200 and 300, now we got to find out if there's other things also low that's going to offset the B12, and they need to take a supplement to help themselves out. And then I'll ask, if they're low, should they take 1,000 milligrams of B12? I'll either get a yes or a no. Should they take more? If I get a no, would it be beneficial for them to take B12? Then I get a yes. Okay, now I figure out how much. 1,000 milligrams a day, 1,500, 2,000. There we go. How many tabs should she take or he take during the day? 1 tab, 2 tab, 3 tabs. And with B12, you have to be careful. You only take it in the daytime early hours. Don't take it late in the afternoon or evening because it's an energizer. It'll keep you awake. You only take it during the day. And normally what you do is you put it under your tongue and just let it dissolve for about 20 or 30 seconds. So it goes directly into your bloodstream, and then you chew it up and swallow it, whatever you want to do. So that is the human. Now the other one I have is on children. Did you want to see that? Or do we have time? We don't have to.
Yeah, I think we're getting close to running out of time.
Okay, so I mean, there you go. There's the general idea. I work on full adults, I work on children, and I also work on animals. And the chart is pretty much the same. It's just that the gauge is a little bit different for each. That's all.
So when a client goes to their physician, that's some of those values they'd get with a CBC or complete blood count.
Yeah.
Although you would have to specifically ask for the magnesium and the vitamin D. For instance, you should ask for a 25 hydroxy vitamin D test because that's not part of the CBC. So if any of your clients have these issues, they should be seeing their physician. And
Yeah. Oh, we always tell them that. We don't suggest it without saying, but be sure to check with your doctor.
Mhm.
To be sure that this is something that you want to be taking or you should be taking, and that they're abreast of what you're doing. Yeah, we don't do anything without that. We always make sure that we advise them, make sure that you speak with your physician in doing this.
Exactly. It's curious that the vitamin D and the magnesium aren't a staple for the CBC. You have to ask for it specifically.
Right. I mean, this is just a help.
Mhm.
That's all this is. It's an assist. But I mean, what I'm telling you though is it's amazing. It does work. It's incredible. So again, I'm going to reiterate, the emotion code is the most cutting edge game changer I've ever seen in the field of energy modalities. It's just amazing. So it does work. And let me just show you this one thing. When I do my groups, and this month I have a group coming up that I'm going to be doing, it's a 2-part. And it's going to be teaching people how to use the emotion code, not the emotion code, the muscle testing on their own at home. And what I do during the class is going to be October 3rd and October 17th. It's 2 parts to this class. It's an hour long, and we will teach you how to do this at home on your own. And I'm going to be showing them 3 different styles that they can learn, that they can work with. And then the second class is going to be to go over how you did. How did you feel with it? Were you comfortable with it? Did you do it on other people? Did you just do it on yourself? You can even do it on your pets. And it's a practice session, going over questions. It's questions and answers and practice. So that's what's up and coming with the program. But at the end of every program, I'm doing it on individual clients as well. I'm pulling a oracle card, and they're beautiful. I love these because I'm very attached to nature, and these I really am drawn to. And on the back, the reason I like oracle cards is because they give you just a little tiny something at the top, whatever it is. And this is a conscious thing. We're communicating with your subconscious again. And it's the group theme. And on the bottom of this one, it just simply says receive and express the truth. So it's going to give you lots of little tidbits of information that whatever the theme is for the group, that's what it's going to be about. And it's just fascinating. I've really enjoyed using the cards. They're fantastic. In the classes that I have worked with, I've even used them on individual people. But the difference between the two, and I can go into a little bit if you want on how the kinesiology works, if you like. Did you want me to do that? If we have time for this?
Sounds good. Yep.
Okay. So what is applied kinesiology exactly? This is muscle testing. So basically, it's like a lie detector test. You know, when you're hooked up to a detector, it's reading the biometrics of the body. So in other words, it's the measurement of physical characteristics such as fingerprints, DNA, or retinal patterns for use in verifying or identifying individuals. It measures heart rate, blood pressure, electrical responses. So biometrics, or what we call in the business subconscious, will show strong or weak answers in muscle testing. Again, the arm, if you use the arm, strong, yes, doesn't move, it's solid. Weak answer, the arm is going to get weak. That's a no. So muscle testing is the easiest, most sure way in testing your own system at home. And that's the reason why I do this. You know, that's my purpose, is to teach and help people help themselves. So here's a tip, something you can do on your own. You know, if you decide that you want to take the class with me, you'll learn how to do this. You can go to the grocery store or your favorite health food store, and you can pick up a product. And if you're not 100% sure that the product would be good for your system, muscle test it. Hold it in your hand, and then you can learn muscle testing. It's very accurate. It's your body talking to you. You're just tuning in. It's like tuning into a radio. You're simply tuning into your subconscious frequency, because again, there's that word I use all the time, frequency. It's great practice. So the three things I'll be teaching during that class, if they take it: sway test, that's just standing and using your full body. This is a yes, this is a no. So forward is yes, back is no. Second is going to be the ring lock. Everybody that has worked with me knows this is what I use. This is a yes, this is a no, and how to use these. The third is the log roll with your finger. It's kind of like the arm. It's a yes, it's a no. We teach you how to use these. So these are the techniques that I use with the emotion code, body code. So now let me just explain a little bit to you, and we'll be done with this session, and it's just been grand before we run out of time. Let me explain the oracle cards. They're different than tarot, and I'm going to explain why, so that there's no confusion here. Tarot cards are usually around 78 cards in a deck. Oracle cards, on the other hand, there's no set number. You can have 12 in a deck, you can have up to 100. Tarot cards have a structure and common meanings. And most decks are Rider-Waite derivatives, and they share common themes with most of the cards, whereas oracle cards have no common theme. So energetically, oracle cards hold a lot of expanded energy, and they give insight into the greater sense of what's going on. Tarot cards, smaller details. So think of tarot cards as pages in a book. When someone's having a reading, let's say with a psychic, it's like a story, each like a page in that book. Oracle cards, on the other hand, are more like a whole book or an entire chapter. Definite distinctions. That's why I like the oracle cards. I don't do psychic readings where I sit and do a reading for someone. during the one-on-one sessions using the emotion code, or if I'm doing a group program, I pull an oracle card at the conclusion to find a theme. It's a collective consciousness, and it gives a picture of things surrounding an individual, if I do it during a session, or a group. It just gives you a picture or a theme of what's going on. And I have a couple of decks that I use. The one that I'm really fond of is the Divine Goddess deck. This deck is very gentle, it's very simple, it's soft on the eyes, and it helps bring attention to the areas in life that need it most. It's just a helpful tool. So here's one I'm going to show you right now, just so you can see another one. I'll pull another card. This is the front, but the back side, they're just going to give you a quick theme. This one is strength. And then the answer is, I don't have my good glasses on, sorry. Determination, perseverance, and self-discovery. So it's wonderful tools to help people help themselves and to kind of just get them motivated. Past life connection is another one. Someone with heavy influence from a past life is with you, things like that. This morning, I pulled one just before we did this because I wanted to see what today's theme was, working with you. Look what I got. Celebration. And the thing they give us is good times come from hard work, time spent in good company. I couldn't be in better company being with Peter. So this was just a wonderful episode.
Thank you. Sherry, before we end, can you go back, because you mentioned finding a product in the store. Could you try, just show us how to do that? So
now I'll show you an easy technique, okay? So I'm going to use the sway test. That means you're using your whole body, because the human body really is the tool. It really is the tool. So the sway test is when you move forward, that's a yes. When you sway backwards, now if I was standing, you wouldn't be able to see me anymore, but I'll try it standing. If I was standing like this, I'm going to just swing to the front if that's a yes. If I ask a question, I'm going to swing to the back. So let me just see if I have something here I can ask about. I wish I'd thought about that. So let's just see what this is. I have something here. It's called Mediterranean Organic Oil, okay? I haven't even opened it yet, so I'm going to grab that. I'm going to hold it in my hands. You can put it in your dominant hand if you like, or your left, whatever you're comfortable with. So I'm going to put it in my dominant hand, and I'm going to ask, as I tune into my own subconscious higher self, and I'm going to ask, is this product in my highest good and beneficial for my system? Let's just see what happens here. You're going to almost feel like you want to fall over. See, now my body just wants to naturally swing forward. I'm not doing that. It just wants to swing forward. And that is what a kinesiologist will do, or someone that's a nutritionist. They will be using the arm. They'll have the client hold another product in the other hand, and then they will ask their body what's going on. Is this a good product for them? And their body will give the nutritionist an answer. Yes or no. It will give them an answer because they're holding the product. So they'll diversify and find out, okay, well, which product is good for them? I wish I had another product that was a no.
So, well,
I wish I thought of that.
If you using the sway test, would you recommend keeping the eyes open or closed with that one when your clients test?
Well, if you're doing it in a store, I mean, you don't want to bring attention to yourself, but I mean, if you're in the store and you notice there's nobody in the aisle, close your eyes. Because it gives you a chance to concentrate a little bit more. You're not so distracted. If your eyes are open, you're a little bit more distracted and you can't really get that concentration up. So if there's nobody around you, just close your eyes. It's only going to take a second. It's not going to take long. You'll get your answer.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's very quick.
So
very quick.
How can the audience contact you after the session if they have any more questions?
No, they can certainly contact me at my email, energy4522@gmail.com, or they can phone 978-512. And this is going to be challenging to remember. 3333. So there's two ways of communicating with me, the phone or the email, honey.
Okay.
They can
Excellent.
also go to my website. There's a lot of this information on my website, energyworkstudio.com.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sherry, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. It's just a pleasure to be with you, Peter. Just much success to you with this again, because it was wonderfully successful with all of the people that you had the last time. So much success again.
Excellent. And I'd also like to thank our audience for being part of this journey. And
Yeah.
until next time, be well.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in. Be
Thank you.
well.